Bristol Reggae Orchestra got a cool thing for you. Check it out. Triads, that's right. This is brilliant. We're starting to get into the fundamentals of the really cool stuff. So let's go. Okay, so advanced tip first, so that the advanced peoples don't have to wade through the fundamental things. Triad pairs is the advanced concept I want to show you today. There's a chord in the chord progression or whatever you like. That chord comes from a key, and that key has many triads in it. What you can do, the triad pairs phenomena, is to take any two triads that are adjacent to each other in the scale. Example, you're going over a G7. G7 comes from C major, so you could take C major, D minor, or D minor, E minor, or F major, G major, etc., etc. You play these triads one after each other in different inversions, however you like, whatever rhythms you like. They always work, doesn't matter which ones you choose, as long as they're adjacent. So with triad pairs, you're playing a bunch of chord tones and some diatonic tensions, but they're packaged up inside a structure, which is a triad. And that becomes important when you're playing tensions, to have some structure still there, especially when you come to altered tension. Which brings me to the next point. Take your triad pairs that you've got over your chord and modify them. Turn the triad from a major to a minor or to an augmented or something like this. When you modify the chord tones of the triads by a half step, you're venturing into altered tension territory, which is a beautiful thing, but it does help to keep those in the structure, in some kind of structure, which you are doing with a triad. So play around with it and see what you come up with it. See what you like, what you don't like. Try it out. Okay. End advanced tip. Triad fundamentals now. How to build and construct triads. So there's 3 ways I know of to build up triads, and it's great to know each method. Have them in your back pocket. Use whichever one you like, whenever you like, up to you. So first, some notation about triads. So we denote the triad by the note of the tonic. In this example, use C. When the letter is by itself, that means major. It defaults to a major triad. What comes after the letter tells you how it's different to a major triad, right? So a small m is for a minor triad. Then we have an augmented triad, which is aug, or sometimes plus. Then diminished triad, which is dim. It's also possible to say the diminished triad is a minor triad flat 5. So you might say, this is less common, you don't see it very often, but it can give you a remembering way to think about it. It's just a minor triad flat 5. We also have suspended triads, which is abbreviated to sus. So a sus chord or a sus triad. These are generally sus 2 and sus 4. What this means is that the third, the middle note, is modified in the major triad. So it's major triad, and the third drops down to the 2 or up to the 4. More on those numbers later. Alright, so method 1 for building triads we can call an intervallic formula, so to say. We take a tonic, any tonic you like, we put an interval on that tonic, and then we put another interval on top of that. And this is why I harped on thirds in the first video, because all chords, mostly chords, are just leapfrogging by thirds. So it's important to know all of your thirds. Each chord quality has a certain formula. So for example, a major triad is a major third above the tonic, and then a minor third stacked on top of that. Minor triad is the opposite. Minor third on the bottom, major third on top. In both cases, we see that it has an outer interval of a fifth. So you can think about that as well. And that's why I alluded to the circle of fifths, to learn all of your fifths. A diminished triad is a minor third and a minor third on top of that. An augmented triad is a major third and a major third on top of that. The outer interval of an augmented triad is a sharp 5 or a flat 6, but in this case you'd probably call it a sharp 5, an augmented fifth. In the case of the diminished, It's a flattened fifth, diminished fifth. So a suspended second chord is your tonic, major second, and then a perfect fourth above that, with the outer interval still being a fifth. Suspended fourth, same story except inverted. Perfect fourth above the tonic and a major second above that. Again, a fifth on the outside. So with those formulas in mind and your amazing knowledge of thirds, you can now build any chord quality on any tonic. And it's really important that you practice all of these triads because they come up again and again. And as always, this is the foundation step, 2 chords. So learn these and be thorough with these, and then the chords that are coming will be much easier. Essentially, we go to 7 chords and we just extend them by another third. So really learn these foundations and it'll set you up for good things. Method number 2, let's call this the retonicizing method. I don't know, it's pretty logical. So if you want a triad of C major, what you can do is go to C major key and you take pictures 1, 3 and 5 for a major triad. So if you want the E minor triad, you would then go to the E minor scale and take 1, flat 3, 5. Flat 3 because our numbers are major scale numbers. So when we describe the minor key, we don't say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In the minor, it is 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, tonic. This retonicizing method doesn't work for everything, or at least it does work for everything, but there are easier ways. For when you come to diminished, augmented sus chords, for instance. Suspended chords, or sus chords, we assume are a modification of a major triad or a major chord. Right, so we have our major triad and we're modifying the third pitch in the middle up or down for sus4 or sus2. They don't actually come from a key themselves. So this method doesn't work for suspended chords. However, it can be a good quick check for if you want, okay, quick, what's the E major triad? What's E major scale? 1, 3, 5, boom, 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 E, G sharp, B, done. So diminished and augmented are a bit more difficult to do, so we can just consider them major and minor triads with the 5th degree modified. So method 3, and let's just call this the key method. Triads exist in a key, and thirds being thirds, they come from keys. So if we have our C major scale, we can see that we can make a C major triad by going C, skipping 1, E, skipping 1, G. So then of course we can do that on every scale degree. D, skip to F, skip to A, giving us D minor. So we take our major scale and a pattern emerges, and we can see that if we build triads on every scale degree, they will come out with different qualities, and we get a pattern of qualities for every major scale. So triad built upon the 1 of a major scale is a major, obviously. 2 is minor, 3 is minor, 4 is major, 5 is major, 6 is minor, and 7 is the diminished triad. Because we can just go, okay, E minor, key of C, yep, number 3, because we've been amazing legends and we've practiced all of our major scales in thirds. Likewise for triads, play them up and down through the scale. Cool tip for practicing that is it's brilliant to know where the ends of chords are. So as you're practicing your triads, practice them backwards. So start at G, for instance, in C and play down C major backwards and go up the scale that way. So then your next pitch A will be the D minor. Going forwards and backwards. It's a super helpful little tip because when we think of everything in a tonic fashion, it can limit us later on. So it's great to learn these things from the start. This applies even more to 7th chords, but that'll be next time. So have a go with a few major keys. Take C, take D, take E, take A, take B if you want a little challenge, and write the triads down, see what you come up with. Need any help, come and say hello. Quick extra note about triads is we can play them in inversions as well. So if we take our C major triad, C, E, G, we can put the C up an octave, so our triad is now E, G, C. Now this is quite amazing, and triads are quite a magical thing. So we have E, G, C, and it sounds major, it's the pitches of a major triad, but there's no major interval in there anymore. E to G, minor third, G to C, perfect fourth. Interesting, huh? And same thing again, if we take a second inversion and we put that E now up an octave, so we have G, C, E. There's something cool that gives another sound. So you can practice them one after the other and you get that pattern, that do do da do do da do do da na do do da da do da do do. Not a singer, but you know, fun times. Triads, brilliant little world. At the start of triads, I thought they were super basic because they're just used in a lot of pop songs, really. But as I've came through the journey, and when I hear my professor just play with triad pairs, for example, it's amazing. And to think that all of these great things just come from humble triads is quite something. So I would implore you to explore these things. It's like 30 degrees today. It's brilliant. So have a go at making all of your triads, practicing your triads, practicing them in a major key. Next time, 7th chords.